Hello and willkommen. If you're planning to move to Germany or you're already an expat here, this video is for you. Today we're diving into how life works as a foreigner in Germany, challenges and success tips. So, Germany is a fantastic place to live, with a high quality of life and great opportunities. But let's be real, moving here as a foreigner comes with its share of challenges. In fact, a 2024 survey ranked Germany 50th out of 53 countries in ease of settling in for expats. Don't let that scare you. It simply means there are a few hurdles we need to talk about and overcome together. In this video, I'll walk you through 10 common challenges foreigners face in Germany, from the notorious language barrier and bureaucracy to finding housing, understanding the culture, and even dealing with German taxes. But more importantly, I'll share practical tips and personal insights on how to tackle each issue. By the end, you'll feel more prepared and hopeful about your German adventure. Make sure to stick around till the end. I'll be sharing some encouragement and success tips that can make your life easier. And hey, if you find this video helpful, hit the like button and subscribe for more insider guides. Also, feel free to comment with your own experiences or questions. I'd love to hear from you. Now, let's get started with the first big challenge. Challenge number 1 is the language. There's no way around it. German is not the easiest language in the world. The grammar can tie your brain in knots. Der, die, das, anyone? And words can get ridiculously long, like Aufenthaltserlaubnis for residence permit. In a recent expat survey, 67% of foreigners said they find German difficult to learn, and about 51% said it's not easy to live in Germany without speaking the language. Many people here do speak some English, especially in big cities or younger folks. You might get by in daily life at first, but the moment you check your mailbox, you're greeted with official letters only in German, and they can look intimidating. From electricity bills to tax notices, everything comes in German bureaucratic language. Trust me, even some Germans struggle with that, and if you venture outside international circles, say, calling a plumber or dealing with an older official at the city hall, you might find they speak little to no English. When I first arrived, I remember standing in line at the Bürgeramt, the city registration office, with my little phrase book. The clerk started speaking rapid German and I completely froze. I had to politely ask, "Sprechen Sie English?" The answer was a firm 9. That was a wake-up call that I needed to buckle down and learn German. Learning the local language is key to unlocking Germany. Not only does it help with paperwork and daily tasks, it's also hugely appreciated by locals. You don't have to be perfect. Germans know their language is tough, but making the effort goes a long way. It can also help you feel more at home and confident instead of feeling helpless whenever you encounter German text or conversations. So, here are some success tips for overcoming the language barrier. Practice, practice, practice. The only way to get comfortable is to use German regularly. Don't be afraid of making mistakes. As the saying goes, Übung macht den Meister, or practice makes perfect. Tip, find a language tandem partner, basically a language exchange buddy. For example, you meet a German who wants to improve their English, you chat half the time in German, half in English. It's fun and low pressure. Take a class or online course. Enroll in a local Volkshochschule, that's a community college course, or use apps like Duolingo or Babbel for daily practice. Formal classes not only teach you grammar but also introduce you to other expats in the same boat, instant camaraderie. Immerse yourself. Try little challenges like watching German TV with subtitles or listening to German music and podcasts. If you're feeling brave, take short trips to regions where English isn't common, forcing yourself to order food or buy tickets in German. It's scary, but you'll gain confidence. Use German in daily tasks. Even if people reply in English, keep speaking German. Order your Brötchen at the bakery in German. Greet your neighbors with a hearty Guten Tag. These small interactions build up your skills. Remember, fluency takes time. Don't beat yourself up if you're not understanding everything right away. Celebrate small victories, like the first time you joke in German or understand a whole conversation. That's huge. And if you ever feel discouraged, just think. Millions of people have learned German as a second language. You can too. Keep at it, and over time, the language barrier will slowly crumble. Challenge number 2 is infamous. German bureaucracy. You might have heard the horror stories, they're mostly true. Germany runs on rules, forms, and procedures for just about everything. As a newcomer, this can feel soul-crushing at times. In that same expat survey, 66% of internationals said dealing with authorities here is difficult. There's a form for everything, and often those forms are only in German, of course. One of your first tasks will likely be the Anmeldung, registering your address at the local Bürgeramt. It sounds simple, but getting an appointment can take weeks, and the form, oh boy. Then there's the residency permit process at the Ausländerbehörde, the immigration office, which often involves a stack of documents. Application forms, passport copies, proof of address, health insurance, employment contract, maybe bank statements, you name it. If any document is missing or a box isn't checked, you might have to come back again. And don't be surprised if you have to queue at 6 in the morning for some immigration offices just to get a waiting number. That's a real thing in some cities. Even beyond immigration, everyday bureaucratic tasks pop up. Registering for health insurance, getting a tax ID, obtaining a driver's license conversion, or even canceling a contract, which often must be done via snail mail letter, not online. One Canadian expat described the bureaucracy as not easy to navigate as a foreigner. Very few services are available online. It can definitely test your patience. I'll never forget opening my first official letter from the tax office. It was a dense paragraph in German referencing laws and deadlines. My heart rate spiked. I had to ask a German friend to translate and calm me down because I thought I was in trouble. I wasn't. It was just a notice. Another time, I sent the wrong form for a visa application and got an extremely formal rejection letter, all in German legal jargon. It felt like a personal failure, but in reality it's just the system's way. Bureaucracy doesn't mean anyone's mad at you, it's just how things work here. Here are some tips for navigating German bureaucracy. Do your research and prepare. Before any bureaucratic appointment, whether it's city registration, visa, whatever, look up the process on official websites or expat forums. There are often checklists available. For example, many city websites list exactly what documents to bring for an Anmeldung or a residence permit. Having all your documents copied and ready will save you pain. Don't go it alone. If you're not confident in German, bring a German-speaking friend or colleague to important appointments. Having someone to help translate on the spot or communicate with officials can be a lifesaver. If you don't know anyone yet, there are even professional Begleitung service, which are accompaniment services you can hire for a few hours to help at offices. Ask the officials questions. This might sound scary, but many bureaucrats will actually help if you ask politely, in German if possible. If you get a confusing letter, sometimes it's easier to call the office or visit in person rather than puzzling over Google Translate. Germans at the counter may warm up if they see you genuinely trying. A short call to the tax office or health insurance hotline with "Könnten Sie mir bitte helfen?" Could you please help me? Can resolve issues faster than endless emails. Use online tools and communities. Some processes have moved online. For instance, in some cities you can book appointments or fill preliminary forms on the city portal. Also, join expat communities on Facebook, Reddit, or Toytown. That's the Life in Germany forum to get advice. Chances are, whatever letter or issue you have, someone else has already asked about it and got answers. You're not alone. Patience is key. Accept that things might be slow. Permits can take weeks or months. Try not to let it stress you out too much. Keep copies of everything. Follow up politely if deadlines pass. And eventually, it will get sorted. As frustrating as German bureaucracy is, the good news is once you're through the process, you often won't have to redo it for a long time. For example, once you get a 3-year residence permit, you can breathe easy for a while. Remember, even Germans complain about bureaucracy. It's not just you. One step at a time and celebrate each little victory. Got your Anmeldung done? Yay! Reward yourself with a German beer or ice cream because you earned it. Alright, paperwork aside, let's move on to a huge practical challenge: housing. Challenge number 3. Housing. So you're moving to Germany and need an apartment or house. How hard can it be? Well, in many German cities, finding a place to live is like winning the lottery. Housing is in high demand and short supply. Germany actually ranked 51st out of 53 countries for housing availability in an expat survey, and only 16% of expats said finding housing was easy. If you're aiming for popular cities like Berlin, Munich, Hamburg, Frankfurt, and so on, brace yourself for some competition. What makes it tough? Germany has strong tenant protections, which is great when you're a renter, but it also means landlords can be pretty picky choosing tenants. It's common to attend an apartment viewing and find 20, 30, even 40 other applicants checking the place at the same time. I've been to viewings that felt like job interviews. Everyone dressed nicely, holding a folder of documents, trying to impress the landlord with friendly smiles. There's even a term, Bewerbermappe, an application portfolio that you often need to prepare. This usually includes proof of income, a SCUFA credit check printout, a copy of your ID or passport, sometimes a letter of recommendation from a previous landlord, and a short intro about yourself. Yes, you basically auditioned to rent an apartment. I remember the first flat I applied to in Frankfurt. I was so excited because it was perfect. I showed up to the open house and the hallway was literally packed with people. One prospective tenant had even baked cookies to win over the current tenant. Not kidding. It was overwhelming. I submitted my application and never heard back. That happened a few times and it was discouraging. It took me about 3 months and dozens of inquiries to finally land a flat I love. So if you don't succeed at first, you're in good company. It's rarely personal. Often it's just luck or timing. Housing cost, be prepared. Rents in cities have risen a lot. Many expats, about 64% in the survey, are unhappy with housing costs in Germany. If your budget is tight, you may need to compromise on size or location. On the bright side, German rentals often come immaculate and freshly painted, but weirdly sometimes without a kitchen installed. Yes, in Germany it's normal in some places to move your own kitchen cabinets and appliances, so ask whether the Küche is included. Tips: finding a home in Germany. Start early and treat it like a job. If you know your move-in date, start searching weeks or months in advance if possible. Set up alerts on big housing websites like Immobilien Scout 24, Immowelt, eBay Kleinanzeigen, now called Kleinanzeigen, and check them frequently. Apartments can get taken within hours of posting. It's almost like ticket scalping. You need to be quick and persistent. I used to refresh listings during lunch breaks and send inquiries immediately. Prepare your documents. Bewerbermappe. Have digital copies of all necessary docs ready to email or hand over passport, work contract or payslips, SCUFA credit report. You can obtain this online once you have a German address, or some banks provide it. Also, write a short personal cover letter in German if possible. Who you are, what you do, a sentence about how you're responsible and love the apartment. It adds a human touch and shows effort. Use your network. Word of mouth is gold in Germany. Tell colleagues, friends, everyone you meet that you're looking. Many apartments are filled before they even hit the market through personal connections. If you're already in Germany, socialize and let people know. Some companies also have internal bulletin boards or mailing lists for housing offers. Consider a WG or temporary stay. WG Wohngemeinschaft means a shared flat. It's common for students and young professionals. If you're struggling, joining a WG even short-term can take pressure off. You'll have a roof over your head while you continue searching for a long-term place. Plus, living with roommates, possibly German roommates, can be a great way to integrate. There are Facebook groups and websites. WG Gesucht is popular for room listings. Be open-minded on location. If city center prices scare you, look at well-connected outskirts or smaller neighboring towns. Germany's public transport is excellent, so a 30-minute train ride from a suburb might be worth the significantly cheaper rent and easier market. Stay patient and positive. It's easy to get frustrated after your 10th viewing with no success. But don't give up. People do find homes every day. It might take weeks or even a few months, but you will secure something. And when you do, you'll appreciate it so much. Keep your spirits up. Treat each viewing as practice. Finally, don't get disheartened if the first months you end up in a tiny studio or a temporary sublet. Once you're in Germany and have some time, you can always upgrade later. The important thing is to get that initial foothold. Your home will come and it'll feel all the sweeter after the effort you put in. Alright, you've got a roof over your head. Next challenge, the less tangible stuff: culture and social life. Challenge number 4, culture shock. Germany may not seem as exotic as moving to a remote island, but trust me, cultural differences can run deep. Every country has its own unwritten rules and ways of life, and Germany is no exception. As a newcomer, you might find yourself occasionally thinking, why do they do it like that? Or feeling a bit out of place. This is normal. Let's talk about a few common cultural quirks and how to adapt. Direct communication. Germans are often very direct in the way they speak. If something's wrong, they will say it plainly, rather than couching it in niceties. For example, a German colleague might say, "This report is not good," whereas in some cultures you'd soften that to, "There are a few minor issues we could maybe adjust." It's easy to misread directness as rudeness. One expat said, "I'm always scared I'm breaking some rule because sometimes feedback can feel like a rebuke." Tip: try not to take blunt comments personally. In Germany, honesty is valued more than avoiding potential offense. The upside? When you get a compliment or praise, you know it's genuine. They're not just being polite. Punctuality and planning. The stereotype is true. Punctuality is huge. Being even 5 or 10 minutes late to a work meeting or even a friend meetup can be noticed. If you're running late, it's good form to inform the person. On the flip side, you can expect trains and appointments to generally run on schedule. Well, Deutsche Bahn delays aside, but that's another story. Germans also love to plan ahead. Don't be surprised if your new friends want to schedule a hangout 2 weeks from now and stick it in the calendar. Spontaneous drop-bys are less common. People value their structured routines, rules and Ordnung. You'll notice a strong adherence to rules. Ordnung muss sein, there must be order is a famous phrase. This can range from jaywalking, crossing the street on a red light. You might get stern looks or even a scolding from an elderly German if you do it, to recycling trash correctly into 5 different bins. Quiet hours, usually after 10 p.m. and all day Sunday, are respected, so no loud music or drilling holes during those times. At first, these might feel restrictive. One friend of mine got a note from a neighbor for vacuuming on a Sunday morning. She was shocked. But once you know the rules, life gets easier. Tip: when in doubt, observe what locals do or politely ask. Most people will happily explain if you're unsure about a norm. And following the rules, like keeping noise down and so on, will help you avoid conflicts and fit in more smoothly. Work culture. If you're coming from a more casual work culture, German workplaces might feel formal. There's often a clear separation between work and private life. Don't expect a lot of after-work hangouts at first. Colleagues might keep a professional distance until you know each other better. Hierarchies can be a bit stricter too. Calling your boss by their last name, Herr or Frau, is common unless they invite you to use first names. Meetings tend to be structured with agendas, and thoroughness is prized. The positive side: things are well organized and there's clarity in expectations. Also, work-life balance in Germany is generally very good. When you're off work, you're really off. Vacation time is sacred. It's one reason many expats love working here after adjusting. Social etiquette, little things. When you cheers with beer, look people in the eye. It's a superstition for good luck. Say guten Appetit before a meal with others. On birthdays, you are expected to bring cake or treats to the office rather than everyone treating you. And always say hello or guten Tag when you enter a shop or doctor's waiting room, and say goodbye. Tschüss or auf Wiedersehen when you leave. It's considered polite to acknowledge everyone. These small cultural courtesies will endear you to locals. I had a bit of a culture shock my first winter here. In my home country, if it's freezing outside, we'd still maybe meet at a cafe or someone's home spontaneously. In Germany, my new friends were hard to pin down on short notice. I later realized wintertime is very home-family oriented and people don't go out as much spontaneously. I felt a bit lonely until I learned to plan things in advance. Then I started hosting small get-togethers, inviting people 2 weeks ahead, and suddenly my social life improved. Sometimes you have to adapt to the local way of scheduling to connect with people. Tips: embracing the culture. Learn and observe. Treat your first months as a cultural study. Watch how people interact and don't hesitate to mimic the polite behaviors you see. If someone corrects you, even bluntly, try to take it as learning rather than insult. Most Germans appreciate when you show interest in their culture. Ask why, and share your culture too. If something puzzles you, ask a German friend or colleague about it. Germans can be quite open to discussing their culture's whys and hows. Sometimes they'll even agree some things are odd. And share your own customs. It can be a fun exchange. For instance, I once explained Thanksgiving to German friends. They found it fascinating and we did a little turkey dinner. They taught me about Carnival in return. Patience with yourself. Culture adjustment doesn't happen overnight. You might go through an initial honeymoon phase, then frustration, then, eventually, adjustment. That's totally normal. Give yourself grace on the hard days. Over time, the things that felt strange will become second nature, and you may even catch yourself saying, "This is how we do it in Germany," with pride. Embracing a new culture is one of the most rewarding parts of living abroad. Germany's culture has a lot of wonderful aspects, from the rich history and festivals, Oktoberfest anyone, to a certain reliability in daily life that comes from all those rules. Give it time, stay curious, and soon you'll feel more in sync with life here. Now, closely tied to culture is our next topic, actually integrating and making friends in Germany.